everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me or who are new here, my name is Abby and nice to meet you. But I hope you guys are having a great Monday. So to begin, I didn't beat teen pregnancy. So I was in high school when I actually had Elizabeth, for those of you who don't know. And for those of you who know, y'all probably went to high school with me, so y'all kind of know a little bit about my pregnancy. So I was in a relationship with Austin, of course, and me and him had just started dating in April. Okay, we had been like talking, dating, y'all know how it is, for like a month and a half before that. And we officially started dating in April of 2016. And I ended up getting pregnant in June, which is literally like 3 months after we started dating. So it's really hard when you first start dating someone and you get pregnant, because there's two things that come to mind. Am I with this guy because I'm pregnant and we're going to have a baby? Or am I with this guy because I'm still madly in love with him, right? So especially with us getting pregnant so young, it was even harder because, I mean, when you're young, you know, for the most part, like, there is serious relationships when you're young. I'm not saying there's not, but when you're young, for the most part, you're just trying to have fun. And I'm sure for many of us, that's been the case. The reason it took me so long to figure it out that I was pregnant is because I had went on vacation in July, I believe, to Corpus Christi. And this might be TMI, but I thought I was on my period because I had started bleeding, but in fact I actually wasn't. It wasn't my period. September, when I went to his aunt's house for the first time to meet some of his family, him and I had shared concerns with his mom that I hadn't got my period. And obviously when you don't get your period, for the most part you're pregnant, okay? But basically it was a confirmation when I took the pregnancy test. And of course it came out positive. I was feeling so many emotions at the time because, 1, I was in high school. 2, I was 17 years old when I took this pregnancy test. 3, we're so freaking young. Our relationship was so new, guys. It was so new, and I was scared. My mom, you know, school, everything just was rushing through my head. My parents were divorced and I was living at home with my mom. And I felt like I couldn't say anything, and it's so sad because I hadn't went to the doctor yet. And I know this is so irresponsible. I still feel guilty till this day that I didn't go to the doctor because I wasn't taking any prenatal vitamins. I didn't know, you know, I didn't know if I was okay or if I was wrong, but one day at school I decided I have to speak up. I can't keep going on. You know, at that time, I want to say, I was 6 months pregnant, and I texted my mom, and I was like, and I was this long message, guys. Like, seriously, I typed it in my notes first, and I went over it, and I just let it all out. I was basically summarized to, I'm pregnant. And all day, I was so nervous, okay? Even when I got home, I was so nervous, because I know usually my mom doesn't get home until 6 o'clock. And when I was home, I just sat there, and I was just waiting for her to get home. And eventually, it gets to 6, and my mom gets home. And I'm just sitting in my room, just watching the door and staring at it, waiting for her to come in. So it gets to 8 o'clock and my mom still does not come into my room. So I just knew. She doesn't even know what to say to me. She's disappointed. Like, I disappointed her. Because growing up, I always told my mom, I'm not going to get pregnant. I'm going to graduate high school and I'm going to go off to university. I was like, always telling her, you're going to move me into my freshman dorm, and it's going to be an amazing experience for the both of us, because my mom didn't beat teen pregnancy. My older sister didn't beat teen pregnancy, and I was going to be the one to beat teen pregnancy. But I didn't. And I knew that she felt the same emotions I did. She didn't know what to feel. So my mom eventually comes into my room, and she says, I texted your dad the same way you texted me. And it hurt because, you know, just seeing her I knew I could see nothing but disappointment in her eyes. Because I always told her, I won't be pregnant. I'm not going to be pregnant in high school. So I can only imagine how she felt, because now that I'm a mom, like, I don't know how I would feel if my daughter told me that. My mom didn't say much. I just, she basically summarized to, like, well, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do now. And I was just crying, because it was hard to see her and know that what I'd done and what I was putting her through. And all I did was think, maybe I'll just give this baby up for adoption. There's other things I can do. I don't have to keep the baby, but how am I going to do that? How am I going to give up my own child? And I'm not saying this to offend anyone, but it's not like I couldn't keep her, because I know there's many situations where you really can't keep your child, but I had the opportunity to keep my child, After the cat was out of the bag with my parents, I really didn't care about everyone at school knowing. At that point, I was just like, okay, this is going to happen one or two ways. I'm either going to tell everyone myself, or everyone's going to find out when I start to show, and, well, it's going to be gossip, So I was like, you know what? I'm going to let it out. So this is one of those situations where the friend I told, I was like, I just told her, hey, so I've been hiding something, I'm pregnant. I haven't really told anybody except for this person, So of course I knew that she was going to end up telling that one friend, and then that one friend is going to tell that one friend, and it's so on and so forth, right? It's going to go on and continue. Eventually it's going to be out. Well, that's exactly what happened. I told someone, and she ended up telling someone, and then that person told everyone else, and then that person, it literally happened just like that. Which is what I wanted to happen. At that point, I was so tired of keeping it in, And at the time, only one of my friends knew. Her name was Erin. And I will forever be grateful for that friendship that I had with her, because she didn't tell anyone. Okay, I didn't even have to tell her not to tell anyone. But she kept my secret since I found out. She knew me and Austin very well, and she literally knew everything about me. And that's something I'm gonna forever hold close to my heart, because literally, even though she had no idea what to say, no idea what to do, of course, I was the one in the situation, not her, she always made me feel like I was gonna be okay. And she was right, I was gonna be okay. It was just a tough situation at the time. Honestly, after all the sadness and pain, my pregnancy was honestly a breeze after that. One of the reasons, guys, from the beginning why I didn't even know I was pregnant is because my entire pregnancy, I had no sickness. I didn't have morning sickness. I didn't get disgusted, by much. I mean, I really, honestly, the only thing I would say is I had a problem with craving avocados too much. Every single restaurant I went to that served avocado, I got avocado. Seriously, I was obsessed with, even now, I love avocado, right? But literally, for every meal, I would want to have avocado. Even though it seems like my pregnancy sucked, I just, even though, it did with just my emotions and my situation that I was in, it did. But I had no trouble at all. Thank God I had no health problems from it. And I'm blessed. I'm very blessed for that, especially because I know I didn't go to the doctor right away. So, I thank God for that every single day. I was supposed to have Elizabeth February 19th. That was my due date. But I surpassed my due date, so they were like, okay, well, listen, we're going to induce you, And so thankfully that Friday I started getting contractions, and my mom said time them to see how far apart they are, And so I started timing them, and they were getting closer and closer, and then finally I just couldn't take the pain anymore. And I was like, I gotta go to the hospital. So I'm like over here, in the dark, just sitting with my timer, and then I'm like, Austin, because he's asleep next to me. I'm like, hey, I need to go to the hospital. I think I'm gonna have the baby, And he was like, Abby, are you sure? Like, are you sure? And I'm like, dude, are you seriously asking me if I'm sure right now? I'm over here freaking pregnant, like 9 months in, hurting, like can't even take it anymore, like, and he's over here asking me if I'm sure I'm having the baby. Like, yes, I'm sure. Get your butt up before I freaking, I was so mad, guys. Like, I was in pain and he's asking me if I'm sure. Oh my gosh, I was so mad. I was like, get up. Get your butt in the car, let's go to the hospital, you know? And it was just amazing because when we got to the hospital, it was about, okay, so I ended up waking Austin up at like 3:30. Like, I really pushed it until I couldn't anymore, guys. It was about 4 when we left here, okay? I finally got settled in into like a little, you know, waiting room thing in like a bed. And it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. And they were like, okay, well, you're only like, you know, like 3 centimeters dilated. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know, because you have to get all the way up to 10. And I was just like, great. So I waited there like another hour and a half. And then eventually they were like, okay, well, you're 7 centimeters dilated. So we're going to go ahead and take you to a room. Okay, thank you. So I go to a room, and I actually do not have Elizabeth until 11 in the morning. Now, let me just say, guys, it was so painful not having her, but the contractions. Okay, I didn't want an epidural because my mom, she was always saying, don't do it, it's going to hurt your back, right? She had all of us naturally, and keep in mind, my mom has 5 kids. So could you imagine having 5 kids naturally without epidural? Because I can't. But once the epidural, once they like put the shot in my back, I felt every single contraction still, guys. Like, I was so upset because they literally did it twice, and I felt every contraction. Every time on the monitor when the little wave went up, yep, I was screaming because it hurt so bad. Not even screaming. It was so painful. Like, I had my mom in Austin's hand. I was like, ugh! Like, I practically broke Austin's hand. You know, my mom was more gentle, but Austin, I was like, you do this to me, you know? But I was so, it was so bad. But eventually, you know, it was worth it. Elizabeth was just beautiful to me. And it was crazy because I always think, you know, babies look like little aliens, you know? But seeing Elizabeth after she, you know, they cleaned her off and stuff, I was just like, wow, she's beautiful. And she came out with a full head of hair, guys. And she was just precious.
So that sometimes will take about a week or 2. Just make sure it stays nice and dry, clean. You can use a little bit of alcohol just to wipe around it. But the most important thing is to keep it dry.
Okay.
Sometimes it spots a little bit of blood when it's coming off, and that's normal. If it's too much bleeding, just let your doctor know. Almost done. Almost done. Almost done. I know.
The worst part of my pregnancy was after, not during, which is usually the other way around. So after my pregnancy, I dealt with postpartum depression. I just know that after I had Elizabeth, I just got upset all the time. I was just all down, unenergized. You know, a lot of times me and Austin would just be having discussions and I would just start crying. Like, he wouldn't even be raising his voice at me or even really being rude. He would just be saying, you know, stuff to me, and I would just start crying. You know, and not just crying, but later on when he mentioned that to me, I was just like, there's no way I have postpartum depression. You know, because he was like, you know, babe, my mom has it. She's been through this, and you're kind of acting like kind of what she did. And I was like, Austin, I don't have postpartum depression. Like, I love my child. I don't hate my child. Because all I ever saw on the internet was women who had postpartum depression, you know, they were leaving their children unattended, or they were, you know, hitting their children, or just, you know, bad things, right? But I was like, that's not me. I love my child. I love her more than anything. Like, I wouldn't want to do anything to ever harm her. And he was like, babe, that's not only what it is. And I never really read about it up until I had it. But eventually, like, as time went on, it got worse. So basically I would act out in ways that I would never act now or ever before that. So if Austin and I got in arguments, like I would get very irrational. I would like just start throwing things, basically like throwing an adult tantrum. And that's like as easy of way as I can describe it. Or even if, like, let's say we were driving in the car, right? I would just get so upset about something, or I would get so frustrated or mad, and I would just just get super honest. So, but I'm just sharing this because I feel like many women deal with this, and many women have dealt with this, and maybe feel like no one else gets what they're going through, you know? But I totally do. I would start getting irrational, and I would start like hitting my head against the window, like, or even just like hitting myself, literally, like hitting myself with like my hand or something. Like, I don't even know, guys, why I did these things. I don't know what came over me. Like, I literally felt like something came over me. Like, it's like I blacked out and like I didn't even know what I was doing anymore. And it was crazy because Austin didn't know what to do, you know. Anytime he mentioned about telling my mom or that I needed to talk to someone, you know, I would become so toxic, and I would be like, you know, if you tell anyone, like, we won't be together, like, I will never trust you again, you know. I don't even know what I would say. But I would just be so toxic, and all he was trying to do was help me. Like, Austin was literally, like, I can't even imagine what he was going through dealing with me. Like, it's sad. And I never did anything to Elizabeth, but I would act out just so crazy. Literally, I was acting like crazy. And it sucks to say that, but it's what I was doing. You know, I was throwing tantrums. And eventually one day Austin just couldn't take it anymore. So he told my mom. And my mom eventually told me, like, you know, you need to go to the doctor. When he couldn't take it anymore, he told her. And that was probably the best thing he could have done for me. Because if he would have listened to me and wouldn't have told my mom, I don't know if I would be here where I am today. You know, I don't know how far I would have gotten. I don't know how irrational I would have gotten. Like, I'm telling you guys, there was no rationalizing with me when I was in that state of mind or in that position or situation. My first pregnancy, it wasn't conventional. It wasn't typical. I didn't get to, you know, really enjoy it as much as I should have. I'm still thankful for this experience, and I wouldn't have wanted it any other way because, I mean, it taught me a lot. You know, it made me grow up more. It made Austin grow up, and thankfully, we're still together as a family, and I will forever be grateful because, like I said before, like, many people don't make it, even without a baby. Many people don't stay together, especially when they're young parents. And I'm just happy because Elizabeth is 3. Me and Austin are going on 4 years, you know, next month. So I'm just blessed that we made it. We're still making it. You know, every day it's a struggle, right? But, I mean, we're doing the damn thing. So, God bless, you know, God really blessed us. And I'm forever thankful. So guys, thank you so much for watching, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly about my pregnancy. Alrighty guys, so don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.